Hello everyone. Here. Am I audible? Bacha, am I audible? My screen is visible to you. Bhavnagar, JNV Bhavnagar. You can answer by raising your hand as well, by giving a thumbs up that my voice is audible, or you can write in the chat box. If you want to unmute yourself, you can unmute as well. Okay. So I'm assuming that if you are not saying anything like you don't have access to anything like such as typing things. So on that behalf, I am moving further. Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes. In the previous class that was held yesterday in the evening, we have covered some part of units and dimension. Error and measurement was also in that chapter in your NCRT, but we will cover that measurement part in the later sections, or I will say at the last of the 11th syllabus. So right now we are starting with kinematics. I think you have studied this chapter in your classes and completed all the theory part. So what I am going to do here, we are going to start the question practice. With some little bit of concept, I will start the question practice. Okay. So JNV Dahod is also here. So Dahod, can you please come tell me that am I audible? So let's wait for 1 or 2 more minutes. After that, we will start. Okay, so in kinematics, if I ask you, if I generally ask you, I think you have completed all the syllabus. Say yes or no. So, what is the syllabus that we are going to discuss in this particular chapter? You need to know the concept of distance and displacement, speed, velocity, acceleration, instantaneous velocity and acceleration, like 1D motion in horizontal direction, 1D motion under gravity, graphs, acceleration time graph, velocity time graph, position time graph, projectile motion, relative motion. So, for your exam point of view, if I say in this complete syllabus or the complete outline of chapter, what are the most important topics from which questions always come? I will tell you, like this instantaneous part, instantaneous velocity and acceleration, the part covering the calculus. And then this motion under gravity is very much important. However, we cannot ignore the horizontal motion, but that is very simple. But motion under gravity, you should know. And the graphs is most important. Again, then projectile and relative motion. Every time you will find that there is at least one question from the relative motion. Throughout the shift, you will see a pattern that relative motion, the questions from relative motion and the questions from graphs are mandatory. They are asking, NTA is asking time and again. Okay, so JNV Kolhapur is also there. So on this behalf, I'm starting the session for the first initial one or two slides, I will discuss few things with you. After that, we will move further. Okay. So first thing here, we will discuss some few concepts. I think everybody knows that one thing that you must have heard, that frame of reference. Say yes or no. Have you heard this word? What is this frame of reference? The position from where the motion is observed. So I'm not going to write anything because this is just a question and answer class. So I'm just discussing the concept. Frame of reference is what? The position from where the motion is observed. So if I say in a single word, you can say that the XYZ coordinate system, XYZ coordinate system, in which observer is at the origin and have a watch with him, is called frame of reference. That means a person is standing with a watch in his hand and is standing at the origin of a XYZ system. So he is observing. The frame of reference is what? Observer, nothing else. And where the observer is, origin is also there. That's what frame of reference is. They are of two types, inertial and non-inertial, that we will discuss later. Don't worry about that. Can anyone tell me what are initial and non-inertial frame of references? Okay. After that, you must have heard about distance, displacement. Distance is what? Actual path length. Displacement is what? Shortest path that you have learned. I think you know all these things. Through the questions, I will take you that how to find the displacement. For example, if I say that this is our XY coordinate system, X, Y, and Z, and a particle is starting from this point, something you can say like this point, origin, and is moving via this path and reaching B, starting from A and reaching B, and B has some coordinate 2, 3, 4, or you can say X, Y, Z, and this is origin 0, 0, 0. So I am asking you, what is the displacement of the particle? What is the displacement vector of the particle? So in that situation, I think everybody knows that. I'm just checking if you can do this for me. Can you tell me the answer of this particular question, that what is the displacement of the particle? Can anyone say yes or no? But at least answer so that I can understand whether you are listening to me or not, whether it is just turned on or off. What's happening here? You should answer at least. Otherwise, things will not go the way we have planned. Yes or no, sir? I can't do this. I can do this. Okay. I'm telling you. Let me check whether am I audible or not. Okay. So what I'm saying, in this situation, what you should do, displacement is what? Final position, final position minus initial position. Or you can write it as x final minus x initial. This is what displacement is. So if you see that displacement, final position is what? X, Y, Z, or you can say 2, 3, 4. What is the initial position? 0, 0, 0. You know that this is X coordinate, this is Y, this is Z coordinate. So what you should do for final minus initial position, just subtract the coordinates of x final minus initial, that is 2 minus 0, because initial x coordinate is 0, final x coordinate is 2, into I cap. I cap is the unit vector in the direction along the x-axis. Plus, now subtract the y coordinates, that is 3 minus 0 and j cap, plus 4 minus 0 k cap, and you will get the answer 2 I cap plus 3 j cap plus 4 k cap. This is your displacement vector. I think in the basic mathematics classes, you have learned that what is vector and how to, what is the meaning of I, J, and K. These are the unit vectors. Everybody knows these things, I hope. Now, is it clear? After that, the things came that what is the magnitude of this vector, sir? Vector has direction and magnitude. So this is the vector notation. What is the magnitude of this thing? So you will say magnitude of this thing will be, or you can say displacement, magnitude of the displacement will be root of the coefficient of I squared, that is 2 square, plus coefficient of j squared, that is 3 square, plus coefficient of k squared, that is 4 square. You can solve it and you will get the displacement. This is the way to get distance and displacement. Now, next thing is what is average speed, velocity, and acceleration, and what is instantaneous speed, velocity, and acceleration. So I think everybody knows that speed is what? Distance over time. Velocity is what? Displacement over time. Clear? Acceleration is what? Change in velocity over time. I am just recalling the things. This is not that I am teaching you these things, because you know that. Now you can write it as displacement over time. That is final position minus initial position, that is delta x over delta t. Change in velocity, that is delta v over delta t. These are the average speed, average velocity, and average acceleration. Now, if I talk about what is instantaneous speed, velocity, and acceleration, then for that you should know that instantaneous speed, I am talking about instantaneous. Instantaneous velocity, if I say that velocity is equals to dx over dt. Remember this word, dx over dt. Instantaneous acceleration is equals to dv over dt. Is it clear? Instantaneous acceleration is what? dv over dt. I will explain you in the later part that how this dv over dt, by remembering this term, you can simplify the graphs. By remembering this term, you can simplify the graph. Right now, I can do one more thing, one more relation that you should remember going forward. One thing you should remember this one, another is this one. Now, one more thing that you should remember, like suppose we know that A is equals to dv over dt. This is just the differentiation. I think you know that. Now, if I multiply it with dx and divide it by dx, then can you see that dx over dt, this dx over dt is what? Velocity. So A is equals to V, dx over dt is what? Velocity, into dv over dx. Now, these equations are used a lot of times whenever we are dealing with some questions like which involve find the position, find the velocity, find the equation of acceleration, or they will give you some acceleration and they will ask you the position, they will ask you the velocity. So in that situation, these things matters. On this behalf, I am assuming that you have learned all these relations, dx over dt velocity, dv over dt acceleration, and acceleration can also be written as v dv over dx. Now we will move further for some questions. Let's try to solve out. Now, in this question, what they are asking, a particle starting from A, arrow is showing something like that. That means particle is starting from A and ending at B. Can anyone write the displacement vector? Can anyone write the displacement vector in a very short time? Anyone? JNV Kolhapur, Rajkot, Bhavnagar, Dahod. Can anyone write? I'm giving you just 30 seconds to write it down. Okay, someone is saying 4i. Bhavnagar is saying 4i minus 4j plus 2k. Okay, very good. So what you should do, displacement vector is what? Final position. This is final position. This is initial position. Subtract the coordinates x and x, y and y, z and z. Final minus initial. 4i minus 4j plus 2k. Now I'm subtracting. Very good. 5 minus 1, that is 4 I cap, plus this 1 minus 5, if you do, that is minus 4 j cap, and 4 minus 2 k cap. Now, can anyone tell me what will be the magnitude of the displacement? What will be the magnitude of the displacement? So for magnitude, if I say, you will say under root 4 square plus 4 square plus 2 square. That is root of 16, 16 and 4. Am I right? Someone has answered, that is 6. Bhavnagar is saying 6. Very good, Bhavnagar. That is 6. Very good. What will be the direction of the displacement from initial position to final position? So that will be the direction of the displacement A to B, along A to B. I think it is clear everything. Moving further for the next question. This is penultimate basic question. I don't think this question deserves to be solved. Just give me two answers. Out of these students, just give me two answers for this one. Two persons, if two persons can answer, I am just moving forward. Find distance and displacement from A to B. This is point A, this is point B, and this angle is given as 90 degree. So what is the distance traveled from A to B? Distance and displacement. This is the distance. This arc length is what? Theta into radius. Is it clear? This arc length is what? Theta into radius. Theta is what? 90. 90 is pi by 2. That is pi by 2r. This is the distance. Now displacement is what? This is going to be the displacement. A to B. This is going to be the displacement. If this is displacement, this is radius r, this is also radius r, and you can calculate the displacement using Pythagoras theorem, that is root of r square plus r square. I think Pythagoras, you know that. So that will be r root 2. Is it clear to everyone? Similar way, you can solve it for A to C. No problem with that. Now another question on your screen. Question says a body travels with speed v1, v2, v3. Okay. In time interval t1, t2, t3. That means the body is traveling with speed v1 for time t1. One by two pi r. Very good, Bhavnagar. Very good. Okay. So question says v1, it travels with speed v1 for time t1. Similarly with v2 for time t2. Now what they are saying, find the average speed of the body. The average speed of the body, if they are saying, that means you should know that average speed is equals to distance over time, or you can say total distance over time. Okay, no problem with that. If I say what is total distance traveled, you know that distance is equals to speed into time. I think this is the basic formula. You must know that distance is equals to speed into time. Now, in the first scene, when speed is v1, time is t1, so distance traveled is v1 t1 plus v2 t2, similarly plus v3 t3 divided by total time is what? T1 plus T2 plus T3. This is your answer. You can't do anything else. What I'm saying, total distance. Whenever they are asking the speed, you should know what is going to be the total distance. So just try to find out the total distance. Now in the next part, they are saying answer the same if T1, T2 and T3 is equals to T. So in this situation, now put the values of T1, T2, T3. Like it will become V1T plus V2T plus V3T, because T1, T2, T3 all are equal to T, divided by 3T. Can you see that T can be taken as common and can be cancelled out with this T? So what will be the answer? V1 plus V2 plus V3 divided by 3. This is the standard question. What it says, whenever a car or particle travels with different speed, for equal time intervals. Mark my words. What I'm saying, different speeds for equal time interval. Then the average speed, then average speed will be the numerical average of these speeds. Now, what is this numerical average? For example, you have learned in basic classes like three quantities, three numbers are there, 7, 5, and what do you do? You just add equal time intervals. Then what is the average? For example, I'm saying, I'm saying that a car travels with speed 5 meter per second, 10 meter per second, and 15 meter per second. For time interval, I will say this is for 3 seconds, this is for 3 seconds, this is for 3 seconds. What is the average speed? So you don't need to solve total distance over total time because time interval is same. Then what you should do, just take the average of these speeds, and average of these speeds will be can anyone tell me what is the average speed? 10. Very good. Is it clear to you? Very good. Moving further, I think the concept is delivered. Moving further for the next question. Now again there is one more question. A particle travels half of the total distance with speed v1 and the next half with speed v2 along a straight line. Okay, so first of all, there is a straight line like this. And they are saying half of the total distance, half of the total distance. That means, let's suppose total distance is 2x. Clear? So half will be x and x. Is it clear? No problem with that. So particle is starting from A, moving to B and then to C. This is the path of the particle or body, whatever is given. First half, it is traveling with the speed v1. Second half, it is traveling with the speed v2. So what you should do whenever you see some kind of questions, just try to draw a rough diagram and then try to solve it. Now everything is clear. Find out the average speed of the particle. So if I say average speed, it will be total distance over time period. So total distance, if I say how much distance it has covered, you can say we have assumed the total distance to be 2x. So that is 2x divided by what is time period. Now distance x is covered with the speed v1. So you know that time is equals to distance over speed. I think you can transfer these things, na? Distance is speed into time, time distance over speed, nothing to worry about that. So distance, if I say for AB part, distance is x, speed is v1, plus for BC part, distance is x, speed is v2. Are you getting my point? Now, can you simplify these things? Everyone can simplify this. You can say 2x divided by, you can take the LCM, that is v1, v2. X can be taken as common, v1 plus v2. Now, if you feel like I am doing the calculation bit quicker, then you can tell me. X and x can be cancelled out. So what will be the final answer? 2v1 v2 divided by v1 plus v2. The same question is asked many a times with different languages. Like they may ask you that a particle travels one third of the distance with this speed, one third of this speed, one third of this speed. They can divide the distance in 3 equal parts. They can divide. A lot of variations are there. Like they can ask you that first half with the speed v1, second half in 2 equal time intervals. So whenever time interval is equal, you can apply the previous concept. Whenever the time period is equal, you can apply the previous concept. So lot of variation are there. You need to summarize those things in your mind and try to solve it out. Moving further. Now comes the practice questions. This is the class quiz. Now I will give you some time, 40, 50, 1 minutes, and you need to answer. Clear? Okay. So first question on your screen. This question need around 50 seconds. Now everyone should participate. Now your participation is must. From YouTube as well. A lot of students are watching on YouTube, so just answer through YouTube as well. So your time starts. Okay, sorry. Position of a particle is given as something this one. Find its velocity when it attains zero acceleration. So one thing, okay, I'm solving this particular question. After that, I will ask you to solve. So in this particular question, position is given as x is equals to at plus bt square minus ct cube. That means position depends on time. That means particle is somewhat moving. Because as you put the values of time, different values of time, position will be different. That means particle is moving. If particle is moving, find its velocity. You need to find the velocity when it attains zero acceleration. So let's suppose this is the position x. Now you need to find the velocity, and velocity is what I think everybody remembers. Velocity is what? Dx over dt. Dx over dt means you need to differentiate the position. Now tell me, how many of you know the differentiation thing? Just clearly say that yes or no if you know the differentiation or not. I think you have covered that in your classes. I hope so. So if you differentiate it, it will become A. Can anyone tell me what will be the next step? Plus, what is the differentiation of bt square? What will be the differentiation of bt square? 2bt minus 3ct square. This is the velocity. So let's suppose this is equation number 2. Now, if I write about acceleration, acceleration is what? dv over dt. These are the punchlines, these punch statements that I have written before in the concept part. So now differentiate this term again and you will get acceleration. If you differentiate it, a is a constant, so its differentiation is 0. 2bt differentiation will be 2b minus 6ct. This is equation number 3. Now they are saying zero acceleration. That means when the acceleration of the particle is 0, you need to find that time, that when the acceleration is 0. So for that, I am putting here a is equals to 0. If I put a is equals to 0, you can see that on the next part of the screen, what you can see there, acceleration is 2b minus 6ct. 2b minus 6ct is equals to 0. According to the question, acceleration is 0. So time, you can say that t is equals to 2b over 6c. That is b over 3c. This is the time. Clear? So now at this time, velocity is going to be, at this time, acceleration is going to be 0. So at this time, you need to find the velocity. Just put the value of time in the velocity equation. This is the position of, this is the equation of position. This is the equation of velocity. This is the equation of acceleration. So now I am putting this value in equation number 2. So if I put this value, so velocity will be a plus 2b, and time is what? b over 3c minus 3c. Again, time square, that is b square over, this is 3c, 3c square. Clear? You can solve it out. 3c and 3c can be cancelled power. So this will be a plus 2b square by 3c minus b square by 3c. Someone has answered. JNV Bhavnagar is saying option B. Now you can solve it. 2b square by 3c minus b square by 3c, that is a plus b square by 3c. A plus b square by 3c, which is option number B. Very good, JNV Bhavnagar. Very good. Ultimately, correct, sir. Are you getting the point? What is the point behind this? How to solve such questions? You need to identify what is mentioned. So first thing that I focused here, that they are saying zero acceleration. So first of all, I need to find the equation of acceleration. Then I need to put the value of, I need to find the value of time so that I can calculate velocity. Whole process is something like that. This was the first question. So don't worry if you can't answer that. Now, second question on your screen. Kind of similar question. Let me check if it is. Question says the velocity of a particle is something this one. Okay. Its position is 0 at t0. Then its displacement after time t equals to 1 second. They are asking you the displacement. You will have something 50 seconds again. Try to solve it out. I'm just drinking water in that time. Anyone? Bhavnagar, Kolhapur. Kolhapur, JNV Kolhapur is not responding today. The Horde, very good. The Horde is responding. Kolhapur, in the previous class you were active. What happens? What's happening today? Okay, so velocity is given something. V is equals to V naught plus GT plus FT square. Clear? Now, okay, someone has answered. JNV Bhandara is saying option number B. Okay, let's check it. Velocity is given something like that, and they are asking you the displacement. Now, I will just tell you one thing here. There are three quantities: position, velocity, and acceleration. Bhavnagar is saying option A. Okay, so let's check. So remember one thing. First of all, listen to me what I'm saying. There are three quantities: position, velocity, and acceleration. Whenever you are given with the position and want to calculate velocity, that means you are flowing in this way. You are moving in this direction. That means if position is given and you want to calculate velocity and acceleration, then you are moving in this direction. And in this situation, you need to differentiate things. Are you getting what I'm saying? If velocity is given and they are asking you the acceleration, that means you are going in this way. That means you need to differentiate the things. Now, what happens if you are moving in this way? In this direction means if they have given you some acceleration and want you to calculate position or want you to calculate velocity, then you should integrate the things. Then you should integrate. Differentiation and integration are the basic things that you have learned in the classes. So what I'm saying, Kolhapur is also saying very good. Kolhapur, good to see you back in the answers. So differentiate and integrate. You think, is this clear? Now they are asking you the displacement and giving you velocity. So what you should do first? Velocity is given, asking you the displacement. That means you should integrate it. Then what I'm saying, you can write this velocity as dx over dt is equals to v naught plus gt plus ft square. Is it clear? This is very much clear to you. Now I can transfer this dt here. Dx is equals to v naught dt plus gt dt plus ft square dt. I have transferred this dt. Clear. Now integrate the things. If I integrate this thing, this whole thing, if I integrate it like this, what is saying? Time is saying 0 to 1 second, they are asking. And at t0, displacement is also 0 or position is 0. And final position, I want to know, so let's suppose this is x. Now just put the limits and integrate it. So if you integrate it, you will get dx, integration of dx is what? X. Limit is 0 to x. Integration of v naught is v naught t. I will put the limit finally, not at each term. Plus integration of gt. G is a constant. Integration of t is t square by 2. Plus f. Integration of t square is t cube by 3. I think everybody knows the integration. Tell me if you don't know. Now put the limit 0 to 1. 0 to 1. So displacement will become final position, final minus initial, that is x, is equals to v naught plus g by 2 plus f by 3. This is the answer. V naught plus g by 2 plus f by 3. So which is correct? Option number B. Is it here? So I think during the integration part, you made a mistake. Bhavnagar. During the integration part, you made a mistake. Otherwise, just tell me whether the process is same for you or you did something other than this. So are you getting my point? Is this statement clear to everyone? One more thing, I'm just asking. Are you noting these questions? What you are doing with this? Let me confirm you. Let me assure you, after this class, okay, you are noting down the questions. Very good. Okay. Okay, very good. So in case if you are facing some difficulty, like write down in writing the questions in such a in such a less time, then I will do one thing. After today's class, in the YouTube section, in the YouTube channel where it is live, I will post the PDF file of this session or the previous session as well. So just go and check out there and you will find a PDF file there. Okay. So moving further for the next question. This is previous. Okay, one more thing that I am telling you, these all are the previous year questions. The relation between time and distance x for a moving body is given something this one, where m and n are constants. Very good. The retardation of the motion is. Till now, one thing is sure that you might be feeling that we should know the differentiation and integration thing quite well. If you don't know differentiation and integration thing, then it becomes very difficult for you to understand because you will say what's happening here. So I am requesting you all to go and revise the part that differentiation and integration. Now, this is a good question. I am not giving you time for that. Just try and watch the solution. Okay, someone has answered option 1. Very good. Let me check. Very good. Who is answering? 11th boys, Gandhinagar. Gandhinagar, you are very quick in your answers. Very good. So time is given as mx square plus nx. They are asking you the retardation. Retardation means something like acceleration they are asking you to solve. Okay. So retardation means you must know the position, and then you need to differentiate it for velocity and again differentiate it for acceleration. Clear? So what I am going to do here, I am differentiating it. Kolhapur is also saying a differentiating it with respect to time. Okay, let's check whether this is correct answer or not. I am differentiating it with respect to time. Okay, Bhavnagar is also saying okay. So if you differentiate it with respect to time, it will become 1 is equals to 2mx dx over dt plus n dx over dt. This is what you get if you differentiate it with respect to time. Now, in this particular situation, what you can do, you can take dx over dt as common. And if you take dx over dt as common, it will become velocity. Is it clear? What I am doing, I am taking dx over dt as common, it will become velocity. What will remain? 2mx plus n. This is equals to 1. Is this step clear? Now you know the velocity. Now you know the velocity and you can write the velocity as velocity is equals to 1 over 2mx plus n. Let it be equation number 1. Now, if you know the velocity, you can differentiate it again to get the acceleration. So I am differentiating it again. Acceleration is equals to dv over dt. And I'm differentiating it again. It will become, if you differentiate it, it will become minus 1 over 2mx plus n whole squared into 2m dx over dt. 2m dx over dt. Clear? Now dx over dt is what? Velocity. Dx over dt is what? Velocity. Now velocity is this one. You can put this value of velocity. So it will become minus 2m divided by 2mx plus n whole square into 2mx plus n. Clear? So this term become 2mx plus n whole cube, and which is velocity cube. So that is a is equals to minus 2mv cube. This minus sign indicates retardation and acceleration is what? 2mv cube. 2mv cube is option number 1. I think this is very quick from you, Gandhinagar and Dahod, I think. Bhavnagar, Kolhapur, everyone was correct. Option A is correct. Very good. You did a fantastic job here. Now I think I can take 1 or 2 more questions here, if you can answer. Okay, just answer this question. Okay, answer. Okay, before doing that, can you just solve this question out? Solve this one. This is the simplest question, but I think be alert while solving the question. You will find it not that easy. It's a tricky question, kind of. Just try to solve it. You have some 40 seconds to solve. Till now, who hasn't responded once at least? Ahmednagar. Okay, Ahmednagar is not responding. Rajkot is not responding. Rajkot students, Why are you lagging behind? Okay. So according to question, the position of a particle varies with time as something x equals to. You can see that it is given x is equals to 2t minus t square. Okay. This is the position given. Now, if you can find the velocity of the particle, velocity will be differentiation of it. Velocity will be 2 minus 2t. Is it clear to everyone? Differentiation, just differentiation, nothing else. So velocity is something like that. And can you see the acceleration? If I solve for the acceleration, acceleration will be minus 2. Now, after seeing the acceleration, I know that this acceleration is nothing but retardation. Minus sign is showing the retardation thing. Now, they are asking for t0 to t3 second. So if I put the values for t equals to 0 and t equals to 3, someone has answered option A, Bhavnagar. Bhavnagar, mark the things, they are asking the average speed. They are not asking the velocity. So just try and check it again. You have made a little bit of silly mistake. That's why your answer is not correct. Just find it what mistake you have committed. So T0 and T3, I am putting all these values at T0. What is the position? If you put the value of T, X will be 0. If you put the value of T0 in this equation, X will be 0. If you put the value of T equals to 3, X will be what? 3 to the 6 minus 9. That is minus 3. Clear? I think it is clear now. Now, if you put the T0 in velocity, you will get V is equals to 2. Clear? And if you put the T equals to 3, V is equals to minus 4. Am I correct? Just tell me if my calculation is something different. And acceleration is throughout minus 2. Now listen. Bhavnagar, listen. Stop writing, stop doing everything. Just listen to me here. What's happening after writing this data? I can confirm you, or you can find something very special, that t equals to 0 particle is at the origin. No problem with that. And its velocity is positive. That means if I draw a XY system, like particle is moving in the X axis only. So if I draw this system, like this is origin, this is X axis, this is Y axis. So what's happening at T0, particle is at the origin. Particle is starting from here. That's very much clear. Now, its velocity is 2 meter per second positive. That means it is moving in the forward direction. In the forward direction, that means something like that. But finally, at the final time, its velocity is in the negative direction. That means it has turned complete, it has taken a U-turn. Again, listen to me. Again, listen to me. The particle initially is moving in the forward direction, positive direction, and finally it is moving in the negative direction. Why it happens? Because the particle has taken a U-turn. So that means particle is going forward, and after some time it has taken a turn, U-turn, and returns back, and finally finishes at what point? X equals to minus 3. So finally finishes at this point. Are you getting my point? That means the total distance that you were considering is something more than that, because it is going forward initially, then backward. So can you tell me one thing, when it will come back? It will come back only when its velocity in the forward direction becomes 0. Only when its velocity in the forward direction becomes 0. So what is more important? This distance is 3. That is clear. You need to find this distance. For that, you need to find this point where velocity is zero. You need to find this distance where velocity is zero. So for that, put velocity zero in this equation, and you will get time. And is what you have less time. So can you solve it? If you put v0, then t will become 1. So at t equals to 1 second, the particle will be here. Now put t equals to 1 second in this equation. If you put t equals to 1 second in this equation, you will get this distance. And if I put this, can you tell me what will be the distance? X is equals to 2 minus 1, that is 1. That means this distance is 1. Clear? Clear? Now, what is the total distance traveled? Average speed is what? Total distance over time. So can anyone tell me the total distance only? Nothing else. What is the total distance? What will be the total distance traveled by the particle? First, it started from here. This is the starting point. This is the end point. So first it goes 1 meter in this way, 5 meter, very good. 1 meter back and 3 meter. This total distance is 5 meter. Total time is what? He has taken 3 seconds, 0 to 3 seconds, 3 seconds. So what is the answer? 5 by 3 meter per second, which is option number B. Which is option number B. Now listen to me. First of all, in such type of questions, if average velocity is asked, then no problem. You can directly go with that. You can directly do the x final minus x initial divided by time period. Nothing problem. Final minus initial will be considered on this case. Initial and final will be considered. Now focus, if they are asking for average speed, then you should consider the acceleration. First of all, just check for the acceleration whether particle is making a U-turn. If acceleration is negative, and initial velocity is positive, like you can see that initial velocity is positive, that means particle, it has some chance. I'm not sure, but it has some chances to take a U-turn. In that situation, things will get difficult. So are you able to understand this question? This is very popular, very important question. This is the actual path of the particle. So just give me a thumbs up, yes or no, whether you are able to decode this question now. If I ask you same kind of question, then you can solve it. Just say or yes or no. Very good. Bhavnagar is saying yes, they can solve it. Anyone else who can solve it? So on this note, I am ending the session because you have another class. So bye students, you have a lot of questions to solve. I will just check the YouTube channel, Avanti Live 1. You will get questions, you will get the notes of this session. You have another few more questions here. So I am ending the session. Bye everyone.